Talk's friendly little proletariat uprising. America's first competition talk show. You're in the hub.
Joel Aaron feeling like less of a man underneath Napoleon, coming to you live from the Capitol Grill in Buckhead, Atlanta, Georgia, with the Hub Internet Show panel. Jessica, Jamie, Barry, and Lee for the whole week. Good morning to you. It's Monday, April 12th. Glad to have you on the program for the next few minutes here. Okay, I want to talk about President Barack Obama's religious faith a little bit, because this has come up in the news over a number of occasions, and basically it was brought to everyone's attention last year that the man rarely goes to church. Okay, we had Easter Sunday just a week ago. And you know, they're finding out now that apparently while he was on the campaign trail for the back in 2008, he was meeting all these priests and preachers and mullahs and things like that, and he was taking prayers from them. And his faith director, a man by the name of Joshua Du Bois, has kind of put all of these prayers together and will blast him one to his Blackberry every day. This is the first president to have a Blackberry, and so he's got a digifaith. He's basically, this should be comes as no surprise to us.
I wondered what the phrase was going to be. Digifaith.
Digifaith. This really goes as no surprise to us, because the Holy Spirit has been a Wi-Fi connection since the dawn of time.
Maybe
it's completely.
If he sets it, I got
it's a hotspot. He is a Wi-Fi hotspot.
He probably has his phone set often to vibrate. When that prayer email comes in, literally the faith is moving him.
I just heard in a case.
So is Cal.
Well, I'm just saying, I don't know. There's probably.
But here's a question to me. I mean, for a lot of folks, for a lot of the faith community in America, many would say I would say that America is not a Christian nation, but a nation built largely on a lot of Christian principles. But that being said, why is there such an issue with this? The man gets his jollies and his morning quiet time on his Blackberry on the run. I mean, prayer. There's an app for that. There's an app for everything. So why not have an app for that? And I mean, half of us, if we do our quiet times, we're doing it at traffic lights on the way to work anyway. So isn't this just a commander-in-chief that resonates with the American people? Barry?
I'll tell you why I have an issue with this is not just pulling random verses out of the Bible or out of the Quran or whatever. This is kind of like a guy who's picking out things and sending it to him. And this guy, Josh Du Bois, he is really having undue influence on Obama, and it's not just a random thing. This is like his influence. It's not necessarily a religious.
So the fate of the country.
The Protestant argument from the 1960 election against Kennedy, essentially. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah, you're right. This Joshua Du Bois.
Josh is the
There's a guy in a funny hat telling the president what to do.
I'm telling you, man, Joshua Du Bois is the modern day equivalent.
I'm pretty sure we've settled that question in this country.
The 14th century Roman Catholic Church has come home, and Martin Luther's influence be damned. Jessica?
Is Obama actually reading these texts? That's what I want to know. Or is this his way of getting out of church?
Well, what I would say is that I think that first of all, presumably the president wouldn't be receiving demands on his time from any staffer that didn't have some value as the president perceived it to be. Okay, so if it turns out that the way that he integrates a reminder to be mindful about his faith is to incorporate an email like this, then I think on the whole that I would argue it does perhaps reflect some way interact with technology and faith.
Well, I mean, if you remember when he first came into occupying the White House, the danger was that the man had a Blackberry to begin with, and they said that he's going to have this Blackberry, he's going to be wide open to some hacker, and I'm sure there are hackers working on this to this day as we speak.
The objection was not hacking. The objection was Justice Department.
Right.
The objection was written record. There's some reason Bush didn't use email. Yeah. I mean, the objection has nothing to do with anything other than the fact that when the opposition comes back into power, they're going to subpoena every message the president has ever received on any issue they want to make hay out of.
The DOJ is not much better than the State Department. They micromanage everything. Jamie?
Well, look, but I think Lee's point is a good one. Is the fact of the matter is that if you want to be able to go back and have a record of what occurred contemporaneous at the time that things were occurring, then you have to have some mechanism to make sure that those records are being kept. It dovetails with the issues about personal privacy. I mean, the fact of the matter is that people are leaving breadcrumbs about behavior, interests, whatever, all over the web. and they do so in arguably a fairly cavalier sort of way. I mean,
and the only difference is, in contrast to the Hansel and Gretel story, where the breadcrumbs led you to safety, these lead you straight to jail.
Potentially.
What website are you on, Lee?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, this does reveal a lot more about the initial conflict over his BlackBerry. They took it away from him in the first couple of days, if you remember that. Now we find out that the only reason they did that is because he was losing his religion when that happened.
I gotta tell you,
you had to give it back. The man was wild.
If the charges are coming, I mean, if this is one of these charges where we're going to run up the flag that Obama doesn't go to church, then I would just remind my friends on the right that Ronnie Reagan almost never went to church under far less security dangers than Obama experiences on a daily basis. No Al Qaeda, no threat of crazy right wing racists, none of these other things. So I mean, this is another one of these situations where folks out of power are throwing mud that they're going to end up getting right back in their face come the next turn of power in the
That's an interesting point. So you really think it's American paranoia with a middle name?
It's not American paranoia. It's certain folks that like to make a lot of noise about nonsensical issues, which have absolutely nothing to do whatsoever with whether the guy's doing a good job as president or not.
Well, is this Obama clinging to his not his gun but his religion, or is this just him clinging to efficiency?
It's him clinging to his I don't personally care whether the guy clings to any religion whatsoever. I mean, I didn't hire him. I didn't, I'm not a cardinal. I didn't vote for him to be pope of my church. Well, I want him to run the government in a competent manner, keep the borders safe, and crush Al Qaeda.
Jessica?
Now, isn't it true that the elected officials, if they are not religious, they don't get elected? I mean, if they are.
Yeah, but it's been all kinds of religion. Nixon was a Quaker.
This is Obama's way of saying, look at me, I'm religious.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, but it's not necessarily the case.
That was Reverend, what's his name, up in Chicago.
Romney didn't get the nomination, and he's the guy that wore his panties on the outside. But that, basically, nobody cares anymore about privacy.
It's 2012.
And yes.
Well, but here's the thing.
Does anybody really? I know it could. Does anybody care about privacy anymore?
Well, but here, I think I would actually argue that there's two things. One is that I don't think that people perceive the way in which they are actually public and what they perceive to be private behaviors. So I think that for far too many people, I'm in my home, I'm looking at my screen, I'm the only one who knows this. And they don't appreciate how much literally they're just throwing out there. You might, if you want to, another way to look at it is to say, would you feel as comfortable sitting in the middle of your community public park looking at the same website or making the same posting on a Facebook?
Well, there's an ID theft commercial on television about every 4 minutes. So I think basically what people have done is they've made to surrender the privacy to say, essentially, I'm not worried about what people are looking at. Well, about if people know what I'm looking at the internet, what I'm doing on. I mean, you look at Facebook.
Well,
good Lord, the things that people post there are sometimes shocking to me.
And it's private. And is the concern? And let me ask this question: Is it really? It's breakfast. Hold on. Is it really even an issue of privacy anymore? Because here's the thing: when I look, does anybody care? Because when I look at Facebook and I look at some of these things, like just recently, you mentioned Facebook. It came up on Facebook. They had a Blippy user, whatever that is, named Joe Greenstein, and he purchased an iPhone app that was titled Speed Dating for Singles of Any Sex. Well, it got really risque really quick. But he posted this on Facebook, and he posted, a lot of different groups are posting a lot of things on Facebook right now, and they don't even register. There was one thing for basically, a million users, basically the Facebook privacy issue, and they posted a Facebook page saying, join this if you disagree with Facebook's privacy. Yeah, 30,000 people go to that. When they hold on, let me finish. When they posted things like, what color underwear should Michael Jordan wear if he does another ad, they get 1.5 million people.
But when people complain about, I don't like the new format, or I want the privacy settings, look, someone is giving you something for free that you find incredibly useful, that you use every day. But, the bottom line is, shut your trap and quit bitching. It's free.
All right, they're about to throw bread at us again. You're listening to the Whole Internet Show. We'll see you tomorrow on The Hook.
The cult of personality.